Awesome. Okay, so we're starting this class again. All right. So this class is on lead follow-up. So the first lead follow-up way is when you first introduce yourself to someone or you meet someone for the first time, either like at a grocery store, at a networking event, at an open house, anywhere you meet someone for the first time, you should be doing an 8x8. It's called 8x8 because you're intentionally marketing to them. So it's 8 touches over 8 weeks, right? So you have to determine what works for you, but it should be a combination of emails, it could be mail, text, calls, social media, whatever it is, you need to drip on them over the next 8 weeks, once a week. And the purpose of that is for you to get to know them, for them to get to know you. Now, it's not necessarily you're going to get business right away. You may, but it's for them to know that you are top of mind. You're sending them something. You're emailing them something. Okay? This is great for networking events or meeting someone for the first time. 8x8. They're going to 8x8. Any questions? So, Nikia said that when she does this, it's social media. It could be a text message. Hi, just met you at the open house, right? I'm here for you. If you need anything. You mentioned at the open house that you would like to get some information about the market in this area. It's just a touch based on a conversation you had with them at the open house. Okay? So you have to put in your database system a task set up as to what you're going to be doing over the 8 weeks with that person you just meet. Does that make sense? And this is good, establish a relationship with having met. So there's a difference between people you know and people you don't know. Mets are people you know, having met are people you don't know. And you want to get to know them. So it's kind of an intense situation of speed dating. Mm-hmm. All right, so this is another way of touching on the people that you don't know, okay? So this is nurturing relationships with hazardnets. So this is a good mechanism for if you want to do forming in a neighborhood or forming for a specific type of strategy, okay? So these are 12 touches monthly. It's a combination of direct mail pieces or in-person visits, something of value. So a lot of people, what they have is a newsletter about the market or something about that neighborhood. So this is great for forming because you can once a month door knock, you can once a month send them something via mail or email if you have their information. So this is one touch every month for 12 months. The reason why this is good for forming is because the rate of return on a form, you have to touch them 12 to 18 months before they convert, unless they are ready to list at that point. This is good for listings. It's also good after an 8x8, then you put them on a 12x12 because you touch them 8 times over 8 weeks. Now you still need to communicate with them, so you should be touching them at least once a month because you're still building relationships with having mets. They still don't really know you. Make sense? So what are some other things y'all do that you send out monthly?
I do a newsletter.
Okay. Do you create your own newsletter? Okay. And what does it look like? What information is in your newsletter?
So the one I did this month is spring, centered around spring. If I had any closings, I always highlight the family that I felt for the month, so I included that. I did like spring cleaning tips, preparing for listings if you want to sell in the summertime, and then at the bottom I had the festivals for the next few weeks going into May. some restaurants. I highlighted some restaurants in the city. Not any of the popular, kind of like some of the hidden gems.
Okay, so that's something you do monthly
Mhm.
that you update. Okay, great. So it's a bit of information about the city, it's about information about her production, it's about different things that people may be interested in.
Oh, and the stats, and do the market stats.
Market stats, right? So when I was doing a farm in a neighborhood, I would have homes that have sold in that neighborhood. I would highlight a home, especially if it's my listing, or get permission from another agent if I'm farming in that area, and then information about things that are going on in that area. So it was a one pager where I just sent out, and I used it for email marketing, and I used it for door knocking, and I mailed it. So it was a combination. But it was always something about that neighborhood that I wanted to get listings in. Okay? So you can do something like you did for just your general database, so that your database always sees you once a month. Okay? Because you're moving those habit Mets into Mets. Okay? Questions? Some ideas? Louise?
Okay, so this is done, it can be done through command,
Yes.
correct?
You can set up on command. But remember, it's not just about email.
Right.
You have to do a combination. So one of those could be an email newsletter going out.
But it should be under the task in command to tell you that needs to be done.
You should have already set,
Like when you
well,
send
you
the
can set up a
client-
task to say, I need to send out my newsletter. Yes.
Yes, okay,
But you should already be deciding what's going to go in that newsletter. If
right,
you're going to use a newsletter. Or it can be something just that you want to send information about tips for the spring, right?
Mhm.
It can be anything you decide, but you need to talk to your database at a minimum once a month for people that you don't know.
Mhm.
Remember I said that. I'm trying to build a relationship. 8x8, then a 12x12.
okay.
Okay? Now, any questions?
Can I share one other idea?
Sure.
Just thinking about things that you like to do during pop buys. I also include my son's school. They're always doing something. They just sent something. They're doing like a pet adoption thing. They're asking for doggy treats, cat stuff. I'm gonna make up little baggies, but I'm gonna put a sticker on there saying, "Hey, does your pet need a new home?" And I'll include like my QR code and my contact details. So just intertwining what you're doing every day or things that you like, and find a way to incorporate how to market you.
I'm glad you said that. So again, we talked about people you don't know. How do you communicate with the people you do know? Okay? So at a minimum, this is for METs, people you know that like, trust, and you've done business with, or they're part of your sphere of influence. At a minimum, you should do these 19 touches. So you see how we built from people you don't know to people you know now. And I'll send these slides just so you have them. Okay, so the first thing is quarterly calls. Oh my God, you want me to call everybody in my database? Yes, I do. Call or text everybody in your database. How can I do that? I don't have the time to pick up the phone and call. Well, if you're a new agent, that's all the time you have to do is pick up and call. But even if you're experienced, you have to set lead generation times to do this. So what's a system you can use in order to talk to everyone in your database? Doing a database in twos. What is that? Who knows what doing a database in twos?
Choosing two different, well, it's a schedule of two different alphabets, maybe one's a lot more than the other, you call them.
Okay. All right. So, an example, and I'll give you the schedule, okay, so you'll have it, is I'm going to call everyone with the last name that begins with A and W. You don't want to go in order A, B, C, D. Okay, it's call by, and you may have a lot of A's and not so many W's, so it's a balance. So everybody in your database with the letters A and W, I'm calling this week. Right? So how many alphabets in the that we have? 26, right? So that means you can call everybody in your database if you use this system every quarter. 12 weeks. It's 2 letters every quarter. Every 2 letters a week, but every quarter. Okay? So can we do that?
Yeah.
All right? Can you set up your database to have it in doing the database in twos? So that all it does is pick up in your database all your A and W's.
Can you do this?
Scott Labore can do that for you. You send it to them, they set it up, and you're doing the database is done.
It'll do it,
They will
it'll automatically do it?
no, they'll do it at one time, and then as you put people in, make sure you tag that letter. New
Oh, okay, so you
right?
can tag.
They can do it to start you off,
Okay.
and then any new people you put in your database, just make sure they're tagged by the doing the database in twos.
Mhm.
Okay?
If I could just speak real quick at DTD2, right? I know it works, and I know a lot of agents use it. My challenge has been organizing my system, right? That I am following along with last name to the T, like not missing anybody, along with doing, other follow-up calls like business transactions. So that's where my challenge comes in. So I'm working on some stuff. Like on Sundays, I get on the morning training in the morning where it's an accountability session. So we're sitting there and we're just working on our schedules for the week. Right?
Mhm.
So I am working on like the DTD2 system, just to put it into effect. Because do I use it right now? I really don't.
Right.
That's not because I don't want to, it's because I'm trying to.
So my recommendation is picking one day of the week where you do it. So your lead generation, if it's in the morning, on Tuesdays or Mondays, whatever, I'm doing the database in twos. Because 9 times out of 10, if you get in a rhythm, if that's what you're doing and focusing on, now you do have other business, you're busy, right? But if you can maybe 2 days a week, just focus on your database and making the calls or texting, right? Or social media.
Or you can do an Audible. You can do
So what I'm saying is, you just need to pick where you're dealing with A and W this week. Through either your database, your social media database, or your phone. Everybody on your phone should be in your database.
I got a question. This was my thing. I never knew, how do you know you called everybody?
Okay, so are you
On to
putting
next week? You know,
are
so
you
it's like-
putting notes?
Well, yes, but it doesn't alright, so like the next week is a different alphabet. So
Yes.
if you didn't finish,
You gotta finish.
you gotta finish.
Right.
That's what it is. just
But
gotta
what you
finish.
should do is if you tag them and you put notes,
Mhm.
then you know that you talked to them.
Mhm.
So it should be the next person in line.
Right. Well, I know that, but so like the next week is like the new.
It's a new letter, but you gotta finish your A&Ws from the first week. Because in order to touch everyone quarterly, you gotta get through the letters. Okay? Have one face-to-face meeting, an annual event, a movie screening, getting together. So this is really, I say, for my VIP clients. Right? Now, you can invite them to different events. However, at least your VIP clients, you should be meeting face-to-face once a year. So if you have clients that's referring business, take them to lunch. When you get to a point where you have a lot of clients, then you should think about hosting some type of events where they come and you celebrate them.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna give you an example. Me and my partner, we did a crawfish boil for all of our clients. So that's one thing once a year we did. And we invited all of our past clients, not only our past clients in real estate, but also my other businesses. So it's appreciation. Okay, that was one big event. However, if you have VIP clients, you should do them breakfast, lunch, something. So I would say have your top 10 VIP clients, and over the year, have a face-to-face meeting with one of them once a month. And then you have 2 months to spare, and you have 12, the top 10. Who is giving you business, or who you are in relationship with that you know are going to give you business. Or if there's a client that's been giving you business, that's a VIP client. They're purchasing from you several times every so often. So identify who your VIP clients are. Okay? Send 2 items of value. Twice a year, you should be deciding what will I give for items of value, right? Could it be your Pop Buys or something? It could be Magnus football schedules. It can be recipes. It can be whatever, right? Festival schedules. You can make those. At least twice a year, you should be sending out to all of your database something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. At least a percentage of your database. Because again, you need to stay what? Top of mind. So decide, what am I going to send twice a year? Now, this is the minimum of your mix, the 19 touches, minimum. Okay? And then 12 touches, bi-weekly emails. Okay? So that's your once a month newsletters. So you see how it goes from people you don't know, and then now the people you do know should also get the same 12 touches for the people you don't know. So whatever that is. So a market report, email, a newsletter, whatever you decide. So at a minimum, quarterly contacts, one type of touch in person with VIP, or if you get to a point where you can do a major event. We could do like a movie screen for all of the KW Market Center if we wanted to. We have to decide. That could be our annual event, whatever it is. And invite your clients. 2 items of value, some promotional that promotes you. Football schedules, festival schedules, recipes, plant seeds, right? Anything you can think of, any catchy thing that will stand out to your clients, okay? And then 12 touches. Once a month, you're sending them an email or something that, again, top of mind. Questions on people you know. Does it make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, so we went from 19 touches. Ideally, to get pieces of business, you should be doing the 36 touch. And the biggest difference is you're still doing your quarterly, you're still touching, connecting phone or text. You go from 1 face-to-face to 2. So that means those 10, or you can increase it to 20, but you need to do 2 face-to-face meetings with those people twice a year. You go from 1 to 2. So instead of having 2 items of value, now you're doing 4. So that's quarterly deciding on festivals or what we said, market reports or something that's your football schedules, basketball schedules, festival schedules. Again, plant seeds, anything that you can do quarterly. Remember, you have to plan this ahead of time.
So are we talking like an actual physical thing?
Mm-hmm. This is something that they can have. It can be a calendar every January. They're going to get a calendar. All the people in your database, right? Every fall they're going to get a football schedule. Magnets, because what magnets does? They stick it on the refrigerator
every time they open it.
Right? I'll never forget. I sent out a football schedule for sale by owner. When I walked in the house, guess what my football schedule was? On the refrigerator. Okay? This is key for you to have something tangible that you give out. And then you go from 12 touches to 24 touches. 26 touches. And it's still a combination of putting them on a smart plan, deciding on your Facebook DMs, you just need to communicate with them other than text messages and calls. Mm-hmm. This is other forms of communication, social media, text, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, emails, or you can meet them in person, right? So the difference between a 19 touch and a 36 touch is what?
One more.
Or two more.
Or two more.
So you're just doubling almost what you're doing. Because if you really do a convert 36 touch, they're gonna always see something you're giving them, right?
Mhm.
So you always, this is the maximum, right? Because then you don't want to do overboard. But this is the minimum for people that you know that's in your database. Okay? So I'm gonna go back. This is when you first meet someone. After you've done the 8x8, they go on a 12 by 12 touch.
So it's 8 weeks consistent, and then 12 months, like once a month for 12 months.
And then those people should eventually, right? Because now they know you, go on a 19 or 36 touch, whichever one you decide.
Right.
Okay? So technically, everybody in your database at that point should be going on a 19 or 36 touch. Because you got to gradually move them up so they won't unsubscribe to you. But this is minimum of everybody in your database. This is maximum.
Does Community keep track of that?
You got to set it up. So Command is going to track this, right? Once you put them in a database,
Right, they're in the database.
they're in the database. You can tag them by their letter. So you can pull up all my tags for A&W. Command does not do this
Right.
unless you set a task to say, this person I'm meeting this month.
Okay.
Command doesn't do this, but you can set up a task that says, I'm sending out my promotionals this month to everybody, or this list of people. Okay? Of course, Command does this because you put them on smart plans. So one smart plan is everybody's birthday. That's a touch, right? Everybody's home's anniversary. So all of the seasons, holiday seasons, can be part of this 26 touch system. So if you have something every holiday, right? There's a holiday at least once a month, right?
Yeah.
So that's 12 touches right there. Everybody has a birthday, 13. Everybody who's bought a house or a wedding anniversary or something, that's another touch. So you've gotten 14 touches. So now you got to decide what the other touch is. If it's a newsletter, that's 12, you're done. Right? A newsletter, birthday, anniversary, and then a wedding, right? If you notice that they had a baby, right? So all of those should be part of, okay, I'm gonna do this at a minimum. And then what am I gonna do to enhance it to get to 26? Right? What I said earlier, fortune is in what? Okay. So if you're not following up and having a system in your database, you're gonna miss opportunity. Because somebody else is doing this. So someone asked me, what is the doing the database in twos? And you'll get the schedule. I'll send this out to y'all. Okay. Week 1, A&W. Week 2, B&E, D&O. So this is every quarter you follow this schedule. Right? So not only can you follow this in your email database system, but can you do the same thing with social media? So you can DM them based on everybody with the A&W. Now the difference between social media is not the last name, it's the first name. Because when they come up, there's based on first name. But you still can do the system. Right? Questions? All right. What questions we have online?
You said after for our 8 touches, how long should we leave them on that before we change them over?
Once you finish with the 8 weeks, change them to a 12 week. So it's in order. The first time you meet someone, you're going to touch them once a week over the next 8 weeks. Then once that is done, then you put them on an automatic once a month. Then once you get to know them, then they're going on 19 touch or 36 touch, depending on which one you use. Does that make sense, Ms. Linda?
It does, thank you.
Welcome.
What about this for that? Like a client,
Hmm?
like a client checklist, like, you get a client, this is what I need to do.
So you can print out this.
Like something like that, can you do that? I
I
need a
I'm gonna
checklist.
send you this.
I need something to say, I get my client, I put them in command, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this.
So you're gonna have to create that for yourself, because what you do is different than everybody else, right? No, I'm saying, right?
No,
You're not talking about like a daily tracker for you?
Just like, I don't know command as well as I should. I mean, I was using command and, you know, you get busy, you know, you do what you can, just get it done. So, yeah, just like a, you know, as well as command or.
Okay. So I'm gonna recommend you talk to Renee to help get you back on track, because she's our tech person for command.
I mean, I know it, but I don't know it as well as I should.
Right.
Instead
So-
of you paying, you should do it.
Exactly, that's part of your $81
And I
a
feel-
month.
And I feel insecure about that. You know, so-
The other thing is, utilize Scott Leroy. Do not go in there and sit and tag all of them. Send it to him, your database, have him tag and bring it, and he'll send it to you within a couple of days. Use that resource. But it's gonna be, this is a system that you can implement, but you gotta do it, right?
Well, it looks like once you get it started, then all you do is you're looking at your task every day. That's, I've never been able to do that from the beginning. Like just be able to pull the computer and say, here's what I do.
You gotta set tasks. So every month, every morning, command should tell you what to do.
Right, that's what it's designed to do.
So I would recommend at least once a week diving into your command system. Set aside that I'm gonna just work on commands. I'm gonna clean up commands, and I'm gonna put people on my own systems, on smart plans, on tasks.
When we did the 201, which was I think 2 years ago, I was on it and then it's like I got busy.
So there's a 66-day challenge
Yes.
for command.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
you're talking about. Okay.
No, like when it was called the 201. Like you put 200, if you had
Okay.
201 people in your database, you would make blah, blah, blah. But we were doing it pretty strong at the time, like getting it in and going through it and start cleaning up, but then once you get, once you get busy, it's like you're just like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, but I'm not, every day you should be looking at your tasks, right? It's telling you to do this and you're done.
Right. So if you had a perfect schedule, what would you do for 2 hours every day?
Not probably doing that. Lead gen.
Lead gen,
Through
right?
command, right?
Then what else you have to do? We just talked about it. Lead follow up.
Or follow, yes.
So at least an hour a day doing lead follow up. It's not necessarily it's following up on the leads that you have, but it's also making sure that this follow up system is in place. And then going on appointments, right? Negotiating contracts, scripts and role play. Did I just say your 5 job duties? So those things are not done daily, then everything else doesn't matter. So lead gen, lead follow up, go on appointments, scripts and role play, and negotiate contracts. If that's not somewhere visually, you're not gonna do it. It's not on your schedule, it doesn't what?
It
It doesn't exist.
No.
It's a bold law. So you have to make every effort to put it on your schedule. And I can't, like, my schedule is different in the morning than y'all's schedule, right? But you have to say, okay, every day, I need to do those 5 job duties. If not, you're just gonna be doing tasks and not getting anything done.
Okay, so, I'm in it, I was reading. But,
You said Legion follow-up appointments last week?
Going on appointments, negotiating contracts, and scripts and role play. You need to know what to say and how to say it.
okay.
And those things will come up we'll have classes on scripts and role play. You'll have opportunity to do that. But if you don't know what to say, how can you regenerate and how can you go on an appointment? You're gonna be out scripted.
Oh, this is what I wanted to say. So on Sunday morning, there is a group of agents. I know some people, that's church morning, but they get together for at least an hour and it's an accountability session where you are prepping for the week. Right? You can just sit there, any questions anyone may have, you can kind of, open it up for discussion. But it's kind of like an accountability session. And that happens on Sunday mornings. Now, what if, we did one like in the afternoon, right? Have an accountability session for about an hour where agents can get on and, do some prepping, right? For the week.
So we can
What would
definitely add
how would
that.
that work?
Mhm.
I mean,
If that helps, either, Sunday evening, Sunday afternoons.
yeah,
We
you can
definitely
do
can
the
implement.
morning one, which is already in place, if that works for you, or something.
Is that you just dial in like a Zoom type of thing on those?
So that's something we could definitely incorporate in, the new productivity coach as a session.
You have the lead gen and lunch.
The lead generation, lunch and learn twice a week, so we'll be implementing that, so people can come in during that time and do lead generate, and hear other people lead generate, right? Especially when they handle objections, because that's where the key is, right? You get out script because you don't know what to say. Alright. Any questions on the touch system? Alright. Any questions online? Alright. Well, I thank y'all. And if y'all have anything else, please feel free. Stop worrying.
So where does that go when you record it?